I was talking with a leftist on Twitter. I know, right? And I pointed out how in human history there are many examples where the culture swung way too far either to the left or right, and then you had an opposite extreme counter correction. And the leftists responded with this meme, which I found very interesting. So this meme shows this lady saying, "My God, these Trump people are racist." That attitude is what's pushing me to be racist. Say what? Might as well. You say I'm not a Nazi, so fine. I'll be a Nazi if that makes you happy. It doesn't. I brought this Waffen uniform for Halloween. You'll cry offensive, so maybe I'll just wear it every day. I just hate to do this. I feel bullied, really. So, there's many things to unpack here. First one is the editorializing, right? Like, you need to know who the bad guy is by having this type of face, which shows that he is unhinged, evil. Meanwhile, the woman is concerned with puppy eyes. Most of the memes that I've seen, they stand out without requirement of this heavy editorializing, but I guess it's required for the viewer to know who the bad person is. I can describe this psychological thing quite easily. It's possible that some of you had a parent, or maybe you know someone that had a parent, who was impossible to please. So, for example, you go to school and you get an F. And the parent is extremely upset with you, he punishes you, and he wants you to study better, right? You're thinking, you know what? My parent actually wants what's good for me. I should actually try to improve. So you start studying, and you study really hard. And from an F, you manage to go all the way up, and you get a B+. And you go to the parent, and you're really happy. It's like, look, I got a B+. And the parent is still upset. It's like, no, why didn't you get an A? And then you go and you study harder, and next time you get an A, and the parent is still upset, and it's like, why didn't you get an A+? So then you study like as hard as you can. You know, you don't do anything fun. You don't play on the computer. You don't go out with your friends. You lock yourself into the house and you study insanely hard. And then you finally get the A+, and you go to the parent, and the parent is like, well, what do you want me to say? You're expected to study well. You're expected to get A+. When you deal with a person from a position of authority, which seems to be impossible to please, nothing you do makes them happy, you start not just holding a grudge, but you realize that they are toxic, and it makes you not want to listen to them. It makes you feel like they're not trying to help you, they're actually there in order to take the piss out of you. And I know many colleagues at both the University of Law School and the University of Med School who had their relationship with their parents severely damaged exactly because of this, because like they were impossible to please. And marriages are the same. If you have a nagging spouse who complains every single time, regardless of what you do, regardless how much you try to please that spouse, eventually you're going to just give up. And you look at that as a toxic form of behavior. In fact, it's almost like a type of abuse. Because again, the person is not trying to help you. They're trying to dominate you. They're trying to position themselves in a space where they seem virtuous, because by calling other people racist, it means that they are not racist. And what they want is for you to look up to them and ask them, well, what must I do? How must I behave? What are the expectations that you have of me? And many times these people are not your family, they're not your friends, they're just some random people on the internet, random people on the street, activists, but they want you to look up to them. And they use this tactic. Why do I call it a tactic? Well, because racism today, in 2022, can be summed up as not liking the new Ariel Disney movie. So if you don't like that, oh, boom, you're a racist. In fact, if you go even further and you read the works of D'Angelo in White Fragility, simply being a white person makes you a racist. And if you're a white person and you say you're not a racist, that's an evidence of you being a racist. So basically, why people are fed up with trying to please the activists is because the definition is now so encompassing, so outreaching that there is no way you can behave in a manner that will please these people. So when you look at a culture as a whole, the word loses meaning. Because when you say John is a racist, well, what exactly is John doing? Does he not like the new Disney movie? Or is John burning crosses in front of someone's yard? Right? Like, you don't know. It could be anything in between. And a once powerful word, which held meaning, is now just becoming another common insult. It's replacing the common fuck you. Instead of saying, hey, fuck you, John, you can say, John, you're a racist. So, that is one thing. The other problem with it is that the way the modern left deals with racism isn't by trying to have a conversation with people, to try and find a way to convince them to stop acting like that. No, their way is to ostracize the person from society. Get him fired, terminate his social media account, make sure that he is homeless, stuck in a ditch, in a place where no person is ever going to hand him cash. By doing this, especially to people who may not deserve it, you are causing grievance. Like, the person that got fired is going to hold a grudge. Now, his family is also going to hold a grudge. And the problem is that this grudge is going to manifest itself at the election box. Because when the person gets into the booth, then you don't have power over them, and then they can vote for Meloni-chan. And this is what I was trying to explain to that leftist. It's like, oh, how did Meloni-chan manage to win in Italy? Well, simple. Like, previous elections, her party barely had a significant percentage in the vote. So something must have happened culturally which pissed people off. The left failed to communicate with these people, failed to address their grievances, and come next elections, they went into the voting box where you had no more power over them, and then, well, they did what you didn't want them to do. And they don't care about your grievances at this point. They really don't care about what you have to say because they lost respect for you. You kept insulting them, you kept trying to ostracize them, you were vindictive towards them, and nothing they did would please you. So they said, okay, well, we're just going to take the conversation elsewhere. We're going to talk amongst each other. We're going to vote our political parties. We're going to create a union. And, well, we know the results of the elections. This doesn't come from the ether. I like to say that when the left wins an election, it's because of the right wing. So the right wing behaved in a way that got more people to vote for the left. And when the right wins an election, it's also because of the left wing. The left wing behaved in a way which upset the citizens with the ability to vote. So they voted for the right. So this meme is actually accurate. Yes, like if you're going to constantly mock people, ridicule them, refuse to have a conversation, and from their perspective, you are close to debate, and you just ridicule and mock them constantly, regardless of what they do, yeah, like eventually they're going to be like, fuck it, what's the point? And a part of it is probably also to upset the people, because when you're in a toxic relationship, when a person keeps insulting you over and over, you start to dislike them. So, for example, I know many people who wouldn't even bother going to an election, ever. But their favorite hobby got taken over by activists. And then they started being called racists, sexists, whatever, right? Because they didn't appreciate the way their current gaming franchise or video franchise is going to. I know it's ridiculous, right? But think about it. You have someone that wouldn't bother anyone. They just like to play video games. And now the company is saying that, oh, we're moving it to a different direction. If you don't like it, you're a racist. So those people look it up and they see, all right, well, who is doing this? Activists. What do activists want? Well, they want people to vote for the left. How can I piss them off like they pissed me off? Well, I can vote for the right. And they find the most far-right candidate and like, bam! And they do it with satisfaction. Same thing with Jordan Peterson getting censored from social media. Like, there are millions of people that want to listen to Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson isn't doing anything illegal. He's not saying anything illegal. But activists managed to get him the platform. Well, I guarantee to you that out of all those fans from Jordan Peterson who want to listen to him, are going to say, okay, well, who deplatformed Jordan Peterson? Activists. What do activists want? Well, they want people to vote for the left. I see. Who is the most extreme right-wing candidate to piss them off? This would be the exact same thing if you had a different society where you had a famous singer that had millions of fans and some Christians managed to get him deplatformed. Well, people would be like, what do the Christians want? Well, they want right-wing governments that enforce Christianity. All right, well, who is the most communistic person out there so that I can vote for him? And this is what the left doesn't understand. It's like their tactics of antagonism and their tactics of ostracizing isn't actually convincing people to join them. You may ostracize people, but eventually you are going to get the cultural backlash. Eventually there's going to be a critical mass of so many people that are so fucking fed up with you interfering in their lives, not allowing them to listen to whomever speakers they want, taking away their entertainment, telling them how to live their lives according to your morals, and that's going to eventually transcend to the voting block. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.